100 of the Zeens and Roger Crochet vlogcast. Hello, how are you? You alright? My name is Rosina. I am a crochet designer and I live in the southwest of the UK, which is where I spend most of my time. I design on the side still. It's not my main job. I work 3 days a week at a hospital doing admin stuff behind the scenes. That's my main job, and I do this because I love it. I'm now breaking into garments. You may have noticed if you follow me on Instagram, the garments are coming on a bit more now rather than the accessories and stuff. Although I think it's important to embrace all the crochet. So I'll always be doing lots of different things. Whether that's... Oh, I've just finished a shawl actually last week. I designed and made a huge shawl for a yarn company that I sent off. I've written up the pattern and that's coming out in the summer, I think. So shawls will always have a place in my heart, even if I start focusing more on garments in the future. Garments like See My Vest. And this pile behind me here is mostly crochet clothes now. Jumpers and vests and cardigans and such. All always piled on that chair because it's got nowhere else to go. Last episode I did actually talk, I think for quite a while maybe, about See My Vest. Although in the last episode I hadn't released it. Now it's out. You can get your hands on a copy on Etsy, Ravelry, Lovecrafts and Ribbler too. Was there anywhere else I was tempted to put it? Not at the minute. I think that's plenty. I'm still testing the water on Ribbler. I every now and again I make a sale, but it just takes a bit more time to put the patterns on because of the formatting differences. But I'm not here to talk about that. As and when I can be bothered, I'll put it on different platforms, but my usual two faves are Ravelry and Etsy. Neither one perfect, but hopefully you know, there'll be one that suits you best of all if you're up for buying patterns. And also Lovecrafts, putting a pattern on there isn't too much of a faff, so you'll find most of my patterns on there too. You may well have noticed that I don't really know where I'm going with what I'm talking about. I'm just, as and when the words fall out of my mouth, that's what's happening. I don't know. I hope you have something to work on, by the way. I haven't. No, I do. It's just it requires some counting, so I'm not going to work on it right now. This is my fourth version of See My Vest. Let's talk about this because I think it might be my favourite. I think it's my favourite. It's mostly double knit, but there's some chunky mohair in it as well. Just every now and again. Too much, and then it would create havoc with the fit, but a blip of chunky mohair every now and again, and it's fun. I say chunky, yeah. This was the one from MYPZ, a fluffy mohair yarn company, and it's just basically some stash busting yarn from a different project. I like it muchly. Here is another look at See My Vest. It comes to here on me. My belly button's just there. So if you wanted to make it longer, add some rows before you start shaping for the straps. But as it stands, most of my trousers are actually quite high-waisted, and so I didn't want it too long when I designed it. However, these cords, they're quite a low waistband in comparison to all the trousers that I've been wearing for the last 5 years. So a new pair of trousers, a new fashion coming in, and we're finding the trousers being slightly lower waisted, which is not my preference. I like a high waist trouser. So this is just DK for the most part, bar the fluff I told you about. And it's predominantly acrylic, just various brands of acrylic DK. And then this one, I don't know if you watched last episode, but my blue one that I have is a lower scoop neck because I like a low top. However, my fabulous... Oh, stop fidgeting, hang on. I'll stop fidgeting. My fabulous testers did so many variations on different strap length and different neck height bit here. And people did add extra length to their vests, tank tops, whatever you want to call it. And seeing people testing it and then adding rows here, which is in the pattern, the option is there in the pattern and tells you how to add the extras and things. I'd seen them and I thought, I want one of those too. And so this is why I made this one essentially. And also because the other hodgepodge one I made, which is there, that was made with like a magic ball of yarn where you do the magic knot tying all together. And I didn't want to write that in the pattern, so this was another reason to do this, where it's just each row is a different colour rather than tying off at random points. The beauty of this is that you can do whatever you like, but for the pattern itself I didn't want to start messing around with it too much. I wanted to make life easy for myself, so I made this top to reflect a couple of easy changes you could make rather than overly complicated ones, I guess. I really, really do like it very much, and it turns out that so do you, because it's proven to be quite popular already. I'm completely bowled over. Granny is just forever popular, right? And very close to my heart always. So this is what it looks like when not on. I think this is the front is 2 rows higher than the back. I didn't bother adding more on the back. It's quite amusing actually, because I do turn it each round, because ultimately when you get to the straps you've got to. Whereas, I don't know, it's very easy to lose track of yourself. And at some point I did actually go wrong and forget to turn. Can't remember where it is now, but right down here somewhere I forgot to turn. But the fact is that I can't actually spot it right now. So that just goes to show how little it makes a difference if you do sort of forget to turn every now and again. But yeah, I have not sewn in the ends of this one. I've still worn it out, but I've worn it with a hoodie over the top, so you can't actually see that there's ends not sewn in, so that's fine. Yeah. For reals, I really like it. It's just so beautiful as well. That crazy clash of colours pleases me and makes me happy. I really, really like it. I can't think what else to say, because I think I did cover it as well last episode. But it's a pattern that's available in 9 different sizes, and I do include notes on things like, you know, what kind of fit do you want. So if you are between sizes, I do recommend in the pattern that you go down a size. It depends on the fit you want. I designed it with pretty much 0 ease, which means that it's not completely fitted. So that's why you go down a size if you're kind of on the cusp and undecided about what kind, if you wanted it fitted. So that is my first thing to show you. My second thing I'll let you know that I have released Gudrun, sorry, as a standalone pattern. So this featured in issue 1 of Murit magazine, and as of yesterday, day before, it's now available to purchase on its own outside of the magazine. It's covered in cat hair, and that's actually thread, but I think the cat's been comfy on it, so that wins it points almost immediately. I really enjoyed making this. I really enjoyed designing, actually. It was a really fun one to do. So it's another double knit pattern, and the pattern that I've written up is a written pattern, and also it has charts. So if it does look quite a lot when you look at it, because each row is different, even though it, you know, it's a lovely pattern repeat, but because you've got the increases, it means each row is different. But you can just glance at the chart and go, I know where those stitches need to be placed, so you don't necessarily have to follow it row by row as a worded pattern. You can just look at the chart and go, that makes perfect sense. I know how to make this shawl. It's a really easy one to wear as well. Like, I wear it to work, or I was wearing it to work in the colder months recently. It's a nice day today though. Sun is shining. It's a beautiful spring day. Been out for a walk. The youngest is still not back at school after the Easter holidays. I don't know, teacher training day or something. But there's bluebells and primroses and stitchwort. The red campion is coming out, as is the bright blue little flowers. That's alkanet. And it just is proper spring out there. It looks beautiful. I do need to go and water the garden though, because we haven't had much rain recently, and I've got lots of seedlings to look after, and I don't want them to die, and they do look a bit thirsty, including things like I've done cucumbers this year, courgette, broccoli, kale, loads of different sorts of beans. I do enjoy growing borlottis because they make great stews. And loads of other things too. But you're not here to talk about my veg patch. I very rarely grow flowers from seed anymore, but the boys wanted sunflowers, so we are growing sunflowers. God knows where they're going to go. If they end up being massive, there's no home for them. Oh no, I'm growing sweet peas because my mum bought me some sweet pea seeds for Christmas. They just smell divine and beautiful. Moving on. So, for the past couple of years, I think I've probably been saying, I'm going to take it easy. I'm not going to like bust a gut on too many commissions. I'm not going to push myself, burn out, because I was feeling tired. I was feeling exhausted by the pace which I was going, considering I do have a job and I do have a family and I do have other things to do. I was doing too much crochet, putting myself under too much pressure to release patterns and content, which is silly. And actually, although I've been saying it for a couple of years that I'm going to chill out, haven't put it into practice. Whereas in the last few weeks I have, and I don't feel any worse off for it or feel like I'm missing out. So I'm going to continue just slowing the pace down a little bit. And also other people seem to agree as well. It's becoming a more of a thing that's shared on social media that small businesses like knitwear designers and crochet designers, they are feeling the pressure of fast fashion and churning stuff out at a rate that's just too fast. And for what purpose? It just feels not quite right. So yeah, I'm definitely trying to slow down, and that means that my design I'm working on at the moment, I've been working on since October and it's still not ready. And that's okay because I want it to be the best that I can make it. And that means going through trial and error, different shaping, different stitch counts, and a different stitch pattern altogether at one point. So that's okay, and I'm getting there anyway. It's quite exciting. I'm at a stage now. I think I was saying in episode 99 about that I'd graded it, so the hard bit was out of the way, and that's true. And I've worked out the shaping for the sleeves and the cardigan front, because it is a cardigan. At the moment it kind of looks a bit of a mess, but it's a stitch that I think I've probably made up. I'm sure similar stitch patterns exist somewhere, but it's based off of the mixtape medley blanket I made for Hobbycraft. I did a section that was puff stitch waves with clusters of 3 puffs, and then it would be all undulating. Well, this is those puff stitches without the undulation, because I wanted to simplify it, and this was a way of doing that without worrying about the roller coaster look. I took out that element just to make life easier, but I still haven't written it up, and that might take some time, so please bear with. I may well get this sample finished sort of in the next week or two, but that doesn't mean to say that I'll be anywhere near like a testing stage or a tech editing stage, because I think I'm going to make a second sample and just make a few tweaks and adjustments depending on what this one turns out like. At the moment I think that my shaping ends too high and I'd like to lower it a little bit. I'll play around. I did actually frog this once because it was even higher than it is now, and because of the nature of the stitch pattern you have to be careful about where you make your shaping, your increases. So it's not completely straightforward in terms of which row you have to shape. So I've been playing around with that to try and get my favourite. And the sleeve shaping will be different to the front shaping because this is quite extreme. So the sleeve shaping is going to be more gentle, but there will be shaping. Also, for the first time, my sleeves aren't as, I haven't made that many garments. I haven't designed that many garments, but most of the ones that I have designed have always had quite wide sleeves. Partly is because actually that's quite on trend at the minute, to have that boxy, big, oversized look. But also because it's just easy. Whereas this one I wanted to try and get it so that it's more fitted. So if I can pinch these guys together, you'll see that it's not like halfway down here where it ends. It's going to be more, not fitted, but more more close to the arm, which was intentional. And I'll see what it's like when I've finished it, because obviously I've got to work all the way down here, and I'm not. But you'll see also that I'm working direct from the main body, so no separate sleeves or anything like that. All you'll have to do is sew up there and down there on both sides when you're done, and that should be pretty much the only seaming you have to do on this. Excuse me, I just did a burp. So yeah, and then wherever the back is, there it is. So stitch down there, and then obviously I haven't put a button band in, which will be, I think probably a deep button band. And yeah, I'm using a yarn called Get Your Fluff On, and I bought it at Hobbycraft. It's really cheap and it's got alpaca in it. and something is acrylic alpaca and something else, maybe merino. But I think I'll make my second sample in the same yarn but a different colour, and then I might do some swatching to try and find an alternative, because I think although you can order Hobbycraft from most countries, people, when they make this, fingers crossed they'll want to, they're not necessarily going to want to make it in that yarn. So I was going to maybe think of an alternative. It's a very unusual yarn though, that's the thing. It's very, very light and it's very fluffy, but it's almost like knitted, not plied. A funny effect that I'm not really sure. But 50-gram ball goes really far because it's so light. There's loads of it. It's really hard to describe what it is. Apart from it's just really lightweight, fluffy. I think it's sold as a double knit. So whether or not you could maybe hold a mohair with a 4-ply and kind of get away with the same, I don't know, because it's quite fine even though it's sold as a double knit. Like I said, I'm going to take my time over this. I'm not going to rush it out because quite often my patience doesn't let me just go with it, and then I end up having to backtrack on myself and just sort of rectify mistakes that I've made because I've rushed. Like, I know that in See My Vest, Claudia pointed out to me that I've put a chain in the wrong place on one of the charts. So basically there's a chain on there over there when it should be over there. Not that it will make a difference to like 99.9% of makers, but I know it's there and I know I need to change it, and I did if I'd taken my time I would have noticed, but I was so desperate to get it out. I was so excited. I'm not a person who schedules in everything. I know that I've seen people go, this pattern is going to be released on this date at this time in X amount of weeks, whereas I'm just like, I'm going to get it out when I finished it. Well, just when it's finished, I'll get it out. I'll release it then. And I'm not sure if it would be beneficial to me to decide on a date too far in advance, because I know I won't stick to it anyway. No, I like other people's deadlines when they're given to me, like if it's a commission, because I know there's no real sort of budging on that. Whereas if I've just created a deadline just because, I'm not gonna do what I've told myself. We're at the end of April now. Oh, that means that next week it's my birthday. Pretty sure it's next week. Yeah, next week, on Wednesday. So I'm gonna have a flash sale to celebrate. I better remember to put up the codes. As usual, I'll just do it on Ravelry and Etsy, and then I'll put the code on the screen. I've just decided it will be Mayday 22. That's the code to use to get 25% off for my flash sale, and I'm going to do it for the 3rd, 4th and 5th. So it's 3 days of flash sale, and that will be for all of my patterns, and just to celebrate the fact that it's my birthday. I don't do too many flash sales anymore. I aim for 2 a year, and then I usually try and put a discount for brand new releases. So I did do a discount code for See My Vest, but because I've been a bad podcaster, I didn't podcast when I released the vest. So the vest has been out for 2 weeks, and the the new release discount for See My Vest has been and gone, and I didn't come on here to tell you that, so ever so sorry. But if you're watching this in the first week of it uploading to YouTube, you'll be able to take advantage of the flash sale, because that's 3rd, 4th, 5th of May, and then after that no sales, probably until the autumn. I can't remember when I did the last one. It was either October or November, so I'll do the same again this year. Anyway, before we start talking about autumn, I'm not going there yet, because actually I brought this with me to show up. I did mention this briefly last time, I think, because I was showing off the yarn. I swear I was. Because I'm going to make a cowl and do a C2C workshop for the Mill Open weekend at John Arbon Textiles, which is in Devon and not too far away from me. So it's at South Molton Town Hall on the 10th, 11th and 12th of June. I can't remember which day I said I'd do the workshop now, so that's not helpful. Definitely not the Friday, because I'll be working. So it's either Saturday the 11th or Sunday the 12th of June I'm doing the workshop. Stupid woman. I'll leave a link anyway in the show notes, so you can go and check it out if you want to book a ticket for this workshop, if you happen to be living nearby. Oh, what a fool. I don't remember. But anyway, there'll be other stuff there. You could do the machine tour of all the machines in their factory. And then I know that there'll be a cafe and also some stalls with yarn sellers and other kinds of stalls as well. I know that Faye from the Crochet Circle will be there. I think Katie Greenbean will be there, and there'll be some yarn dyes there. I think Third Fault Yarns will be there, and there are other workshops too, so if you want to check them out. Yarn related things, whether it's knitting, spinning and crochet. Yeah. And before I go, I think I'm going to take part in the Dodgy Bag MAL this year. I've done it once before, but maybe like 3 or 4 years ago, if not 4 or 5. I don't know how long Claudia and Ali have been doing it. I'm sure maybe it was the first year I definitely did a dodgy bag, and it would have been, if not, I don't know how many I made, 1, 2, 3, they would have all been real dodgy. And this year I'm gonna, if I can get my hands on a sewing machine, because my one definitely needs to have like a spa day. It's just so clunky and old now. I need to take it in for a service before I use it. I don't want this bag I make to be dodgier than necessary, so I've got myself, I think, I didn't ask actually, I've got myself a sewing machine from my sister-in-law. I put out a plea on Instagram for, well, plea. I asked for recommendations for a good sewing machine, and one of the messages I got was my sister-in-law going, well, I've got one you can have. You can have my sewing machine. Because my brother had bought her one for her birthday 3 years ago. She says she's used it once. That's it. So I may as well make use of it. So next weekend we're going to Southampton and I shall pick it up. And then hopefully in plenty of time before the make-along ends, I shall have myself a dodgy bag. My bag is going to be, I bought some like linen-y fabric. I think if you Google Japanese linen, it comes up. I bought it from eBay. And then I had some fabric paints, and so I've just painted on it. It's not finished though. I think it needs some black on it, maybe just some straight lines somewhere, or I don't know, maybe I could do some potato printing on it or something. I don't know. It needs another layer or two anyway. It's not finished, not done. But I just bought some fabric paint, which was actually really expensive. But this fabric drank it up. So you ended up having to use loads. I mean, it has bled through slightly. And I haven't done anything on the other side because I don't think I need to. And then I'll make a dodgy bag out of that somehow. I haven't really thought it through, not properly. So it will be delightfully dodge. And then, well, I did actually try and do another bit of fabric painting on another piece of fabric that size, but it was so ugly I had to cut off the back from whatever, and then I ended up doing a smaller thing on here. So this needs more on top of it as well. Obviously this is just like a base layer of colour, and then I need to put something else on it. But if I hold it out like this, I wonder when I watch this back in the edit if inspiration will strike. And it looks like it needs a bit of pink somewhere. But I've got like 6-inch zips, so I thought I'd make a little notions patch out of that. The fabric paint, it feels rough. I thought it might not, but it just, I don't know what makes it so special, because it feels quite stiff. I think what I'd like to do is screen printing, but I don't know the first thing about it. And that's all I've got to show you. It's not a lot, is it? It doesn't feel like a lot, and I haven't been talking for a very long time. One, I'm out of practice, and two, I've been going at a leisurely pace rather than trying to rush. Work, my other job, my, non-crochet job, is very, very busy right now, and I'm so tired. And then, I don't know, yeah, I think just trying to prioritise different things at the minute, I guess. I can't be obsessed with crochet all the time. Just can't. I hope you're alright. Let me know what you're working on. I suppose also I never do this and I always forget because I always feel slightly weird doing it, but I do have a Patreon gang. We're a small but perfectly formed community. And although I haven't done anything for April, but usually we do a Zoom chat for one of the tiers. And then a couple of the tiers get free patterns. I try and aim for once a month. So the last free pattern they got was See My Vest, and then I will give the two of the tiers, not the lowest tier, but the other 2 tiers will get Gudrun as the May free pattern, and then after that I've no idea. I don't know if the cardi will be ready by then, the month after. Oh, there'll be the C2C cowl though that I'm doing. So things like that. So you always, I end up panicking a lot. I think, oh, I haven't got enough staff. I haven't got enough to offer. And then usually something comes up. Usually there's something where I go, oh yeah, actually no, I have worked on this thing and I've got a design. Sometimes it's commissions that you're able to release sort of after the fact. Once the rights have reverted back to me, I can then sort of work them into my own template and release those. I've got a back catalogue of ones to do. Not that I can think of the top of my head. I think there's a couple of cowls and some wrist warmers and stuff like that I've forgotten to release as independent designs. Some may never see the light of day, to be honest, because I can only do so much. I think I'm going to go and water the garden, see how the torties are doing. Thanks for my early birthday present to Jenny. Jenny sent me a plaque for the tortoise house that says "Beware of the tortoise." So we went out and we drilled it onto the tortoise enclosure. So I mean, beware of the tortoises, they bite. I've never once dared put my fingers near their mouth because it would be painful. I'm not going to do it. It's not going to happen. I think I've run out. If I know I've run out of stuff to say if I start talking about my tortoises. I did say in a recent podcast that I was tempted to give up at episode 100 and this to be my last ever podcast episode. But I think it would be churlish to say that that was completely and utterly the case and that I would never podcast again. Because who knows what the future holds. All I know is well, as what's been happening over the last 6 months to a year, I just don't podcast as much as I used to, because I haven't got the time to, and it does take up a lot of time to put together, especially tutorials. But I know that they can be useful. So, like this cardigan, I'll probably film a couple of pieces for, but they wouldn't go on YouTube, or they would be private for those that bought the pattern. I can sense I'm rambling now. But the other thing as well is that it does have a detrimental effect on viewing figures, because as soon as you stop putting regular content out there, YouTube goes, oh, I see, you don't like me enough to visit me every week. And then it stops telling people who might be interested in a crochet podcast, it stops telling them that I'm posting videos when I do actually get around to doing it. So the numbers fall, and then that in turn makes me think, well, is it the algorithm, or am I dull as dishwater? And should I let these things rule my life anyway? And the answer is no. And no, I'm not dull as dishwasher. I'm really entertaining. I think what it is a symptom of social media being, in many respects, just evil. There are great bits to it as well, because I've met loads of fabulous people in the crochet community on YouTube, on Instagram, and on my blog. But also it highlights the fact that there's a huge amount of pressure to like completely always have this stuff on the boil. And actually, I think that's where I've gone. I can't anymore. And so that's part of my slowing things down for this year as well. If I do that, then maybe, just maybe, I'll learn a lovely balance of where I can fit myself into and know my limits. Because, yeah, sometimes I say yes to things and I just shouldn't. I'm working on it going, why did I say yes to this? Because I'm not enjoying this. But this is me crocheting, which is stupid. I don't crochet like that. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you when I see you. Cheerio. Bye-bye.